Hello. So right now I am testing a sort of a dual PC setup for streaming, and I ended up with some issues, and that's because of my kind of weird setup. Um, so the problem showed up when I couldn't send the audio over the HDMI cable to the streaming PC. So it couldn't receive any game audio. So I found another solution for this, and with help of the Voicemeeter software mixer, and I'm using the Potato version here, and when I'm recording this video, it's the sort of top model of the software. And yeah, so I set it up like this. I have the microphone, another software called Touch Portal, music, browser, and of course the desktop audio. And I set up the hardware itself on this computer at least. A1 is my surround sound amplifier, and it's connected with HDMI from not from my graphics card. I have the NVIDIA 3060 graphics card, but this is actually the built-in graphics in the CPU. So the motherboard actually have an HDMI out, and I connect that to my surround sound amplifier. A2 is actually my headphones. I have an external headphone amp called AudioQuest Dragonfly Cobalt. And you connect it with USB 3. So this is my sort of headphones. That's A1 and A2 on my gaming PC. And for this to work properly, you actually need to set up at least A1 to be an actual hardware device. It can be your motherboard audio or whatever. I have a couple of sort of virtual cables. It's not recommended to have virtual cables or virtual devices as A1 because I had some issues with it. And one of the issues was that I didn't have hardware as A1 on the A1. A2, 3, and 4, and 5 doesn't matter as long as A1 needs to be sort of the hardware device. And another issue I had with this was actually the buffer size on the network. I went to system settings here, and you can see it says buffering MME, VDM, KS, and ASIO. And you see the default settings on the VDM and KS is 512. And I set them to, I clicked on them, you get a warning, and then you can select whatever you want. I set them to 1024, 1024 samples on everyone, because you can see here the sample rate that I have on everything here is 96 kilohertz or 96,000 hertz, except for the microphone actually. It can't go higher than 48. But if you set everything to like 48, it shouldn't be any issues, but that's just telling you now. If you get an error while doing this, just set this to the buffering to at least 1024 samples. Okay, so you remember I got the surround sound amplifier and headphones. Those are on the A1 and the A2. So right now, you can see the touch portal, it goes to A2. Music goes to A2. And my browser and the desktop audio go to my amplifier. and also my headphones. And then I also send the audio to these different channels, the A4, 5, B1, B2, B3. And they don't really go anywhere right now. You see the A4 and 5, there's nothing here. So what you do is that you use a thing called V-band, so you can actually send all of this audio over the network to a different computer. So you need to have like Voicemeeter installed on the other PC as well. In this case, sort of a streaming PC. So you click on this V-band here at the top. Normally it's a little bit grayed out, but that's because it might be deactivated. So what you do here on the gaming PC, I want to send those channels, that audio. So I'm in the outgoing streams here, and I set it up the same names as the inputs here. So it's Blue Yeti, Touch Portal Music, and these names, the stream names, need to be exactly the same on both machines. So you can't have different names. The stream name needs to be the same. And then you're going to send the audio to streaming machine. And how do you know the IP address? Well, it says on the top here when you open VBAN. This is the gaming PC, so it ends with 10. And I already know that my streaming PC ends with 11. So, and that's why I type in here, and you can change the name by left click here and just type the numbers, and then you press enter to save. Same thing here with the channels. You need to select the different channels. And you can see that I'm setting the microphone on A4, and music on B1 and so on. That's why I have to select here, for example, A4. I need to click here and select A4. And same thing with Touch Portal, I need to select A5. And the desktop audio is going to B3 because I set it to B3. And then I can select the sample rate. Just click here. By default, it's set to 48,000. And you can also the amount of channels that you want to send. For example, I set it up. I have this surround sound amplifier, and it's a 5.1 system, so that's 6 channels in total. The one there is the sort of subwoofer, so I can select 6 channels if I want to. Right now it's just a streaming PC, so I'm just sending the 2 channels. And of course you can the sort of sample rate or the bit rate, the bit rate to 16 or 24. And network quality is set to optimal by default, I think. So I set it to fast. And then, of course, when you're done with this, you just click on this button here to activate them. And of course, you need to turn on and off VBAN. And this software is a little bit weird sometimes. Sometimes you get some crackling noise or whatever. So you click on the menu button and you can restart the audio engine like that. So this is sort of the gaming PC, the way I set it up. And the button here, it says mix down A, and this is my headphones. And since I have a surround sound system and the surround sound doesn't really work on my headphones, so some audio doesn't show up in the headphones, so to speak. I can't hear them. So mix down means that it will take all the audio and make it stereo for my headphones. That's the only reason I have a mix down here. So now you actually need to go to your sort of streaming PC. So yeah, this is my streaming PC. And yeah, it's an old computer. It's only got like a GTX 1650 in it, so it's nothing fancy. So that's why I'm just testing it right now. I still have some issues with it, but yeah, on this machine, I also got Voicemeeter installed, and I named everything, the inputs and stuff, the same way. My gaming machine, and these are named like the first one is input 1, and then 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it's in 1 to 5. Then you got 3 virtual inputs. So it's virtual in 1, 2, and 3. That's important when you set up VBAN over here. And then, of course, I set up the hardware, and same reason here. A1 needs to be a real hardware device. It can't be a virtual cable or anything. Well, it can be, but it doesn't work as well. So set this to a real hardware device. This is the motherboard audio, or the sound card on the motherboard. Yeah. And then I set the rest to the virtual cables, A, B, C, and D. You can see here, and that's because OBS. I'm going to show you that later. And then I got these names here. I'm going to send them to A2, 3, 4, 5, and B1. So A2, 3, 4, you already got here. And then B1. And if you click VBAN here, instead of having the outgoing streams, it's actually incoming from my gaming PC. And here I actually named them the exact same way as I did on the gaming PC. And also the IP address, you can see top here, it says 11. And I know my gaming PC have number 10. So it's coming from number 10. And it automatically detects the bitrate and channels and sample rates and whatever. And here's important that you need to set where to send this audio, what input. So the microphone Blue Yeti here is set to in number 2, which is the input number 2 here. As you can see, it actually goes up and down when I talk. And then I want, for example, the music sent to in number 4, input number 4. That's this one. So music will show up here. And then the desktop audio, the game audio, was sent to virtual in number 1, which is the first one here. Oops. Yeah, there we go. Virtual number 1. And then, of course, I activate everything, clicked on here, and then activated the VBAN. And yeah, now it kind of works. Now it actually receives the audio from a gaming PC to different channels. So how do I actually set this up in OBS? Well, this is OBS on my streaming PC. So what you do here, you see all the audio channels here. Most people might go to settings and audio and set it up here. I disable everything here because I want them to be in different inputs here instead. So how do I actually do this? Well, I actually click on the plus sign, and these need to be inputs. Everything needs to be an input. So plus sign, and then you click on the audio input, not output, but input capture. And you can name it to whatever you want. I'll leave it by default here right now. Okay, and now you need to select the audio source, what input it comes from, and you need to check, for example, Blue Yeti. I'm sending that to A2, and A2 up here is cable A input. That's what I'm going to choose in OBS. So cable A is over here. Actually an output, but... And click OK. And now I got this audio input capture, and it's my microphone. And yeah, and you need to do this for the every other device. You need to add another input, capture number 2, and you select number B. And that will be like the touch portal or whatever. And here's another kind of nice thing. Deleting this. For example, if you add a scene number 2, there's no audio here. And it's kind of annoying to add everything manually for each scene. But there's a trick for this. If you go back to scene number 1, and you can select all the audio devices, hold down the shift key, select first device, and then hold down shift key, and then select the last one. And then you right click on them, and you select at the top here, group selected items. And you can select all audio, for example. Now you can sort of minimize that. So this is the audio section. And if you go to scene number 2, you can actually add group. And if you click on add existing, you can select the audio. And OK. Now we got all the audio here. And the nice thing with this group thing is that when you add existing, if you add, for example, filters, they will also be transferred to each scene. So that's kind of a nice thing. So everything will be the same for each scene. So that's kind of how I set it up. So now you have in OBS, you got all the devices, the music, and you can have different volumes for each sort of device or channel. You can, as I said before, I have for my microphone, for example, I have the compressor filter on it. But I don't have that, for example, for my desktop. So yeah, you can have different filters, and that's why I will want to separate the audio channels or audio devices to different channels, so I can add different filters to them. Yeah, that's kind of how it works. So you can see this is the OBS on my streaming PC, and it actually captures my gaming PC. Yeah, if I go back to my gaming PC, you see the mouse. Yeah, everything is captured in here. Yeah, that's kind of how it works. So switch back to my gaming PC. So that's kind of how it works. A little bit of long video about that, but yeah. Catch you later.